Good afternoon, and we're here at the 20th anniversary of the Restoration Weekend with the David Horowitz Freedom Center in West Palm Beach, and we are honored to have with us Michael Cutler, the retired senior special agent of the former INS. What an honor.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Before we go further, what was the INS?
The Immigration and Naturalization Service. It's an agency that got split up when they created the Department of Homeland Surrender. Most of its functions, at least from my perspective, are now carried by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE.
Thank you, Michael. What, in your opinion, is the greatest threat facing us in terms of immigration?
Well, the entire system is failing. You know, we have a total focus, it seems, on the Mexican border. We're being told once the border is secure, then we can go forward and do all sorts of other things. In reality, every component of the immigration system, and it is a system, is failing, is dysfunctional. I compare that border to the wing on an airplane. Without the wing, the airplane won't fly, but the wing by itself goes nowhere. So we really need to understand that immigration is a system, and we also need to understand that the primary purpose for our borders and our immigration laws is to protect American lives and the jobs of American workers. What could be fairer than that?
Is this a Republican-Democrat issue?
No, absolutely not. I'm a lifelong registered Democrat. Membership in a political party or a political orientation, at least to my knowledge, has never constituted a suicide pact. You know, our borders and our immigration laws are our first and last line of defense. I've gone so far as to say, when I've appeared before military groups, and I do a lot of seminars, that without secure borders, without the ability to determine or identify people who are here illegally from other countries, aliens, if we can't deal with those issues, we actually have no reason for a military. When you stop and think about it, the purpose of our armed forces is to keep our enemies as far from our shores as possible. When we permit terrorists, criminals, transnational if you want to call them troublemakers, those folks who would create a problem for us into the country, we can't defend our country.
Michael, what may happen if we continue to fail defending the country in terms of the failure of the border?
Every one of our systems will fail. Let's start with terrorism. You know, I provided testimony to, I think we're up to 16 congressional hearings. I gave testimony to the 9/11 Commission. I've arrested terrorists in my career. I spent half my career with the Drug Task Force. And if the immigration system had worked, the terrorists could not have entered the United States in the first place, and they couldn't have been able to embed themselves or hide in plain sight. The 9/11 Commission, to which I provided testimony, came to the same conclusions. The idea is that the terrorists who attacked us, not only on 9/11, but on numerous prior occasions, or tried to attack us, all had one thing in common. They all managed to enter the United States, often not even by running our border, but by entering through ports of entry, and then using immigration benefits such as getting residency, political asylum, that sort of thing, hiding in plain sight, and then going about their deadly preparations.
Michael, a new president comes in and calls you and says, I need your advice. What do I do to start fixing this immigration problem and the border?
Well, we have to go after the way aliens can enter the United States in violation of law, obviously. But we are a country of 50 border states. Any state with a seaport, an international airport, or lies along the northern or southern borders are all border states. In short, we have 50 border states. In fact, the Tea Party Patriots put out a documentary that everyone should see called The Border States of America. The tagline is every state is now a border state. So first and foremost, we need to tighten up on the way we admit people. That means cutting out the visa waiver program. Incredibly, on 9/11, we had 26 visa waiver countries. The 9/11 Commission said, tighten up the way we give out visas. We now have 38 visa waiver countries, in large measure because the Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, working in close cooperation with the hotel, hospitality, travel, and manufacturing associations, creating the Discover America partnership, seem to have forgotten that criminals and terrorists have already discovered America. So we should be ending the visa waiver program, and we need to make certain that when aliens file applications for benefits, again, green cards, political asylum, U.S. citizenship, there has to be integrity. We have to investigate it. You know, let me just quickly tell you, the President, Obama, created something called the Dreamers. And what's so astonishing, the word alien isn't a pejorative, but it's now being used as a word that supposedly conjures up terrible images. The word alien simply means any person who's not a citizen or national of the United States. Not my definition, it's in the law. There's no insult, only clarity. If you use the word alien today, you get attacked. Yet the alien, the term the A in Dreamers, is alien minors. So what's so astonishing is that our own government is willing to use the word alien to conjure up the image of the American dream for aliens who have no legal right to be in the United States. When I'm told about the need to show compassion, my first question is, why aren't we being compassionate to our own children? When you look at 1 in 4 American kids living below the poverty line, when you look at an unemployment rate that ignores, it's incredible, nearly 100 million working age Americans who are not working, and they say, well, we have an unemployment rate of under 6%. That's kind of like a kid comes home with an exam and says to his parents, and he's been having trouble with science all year, I finally got a 90 on my test, and the parents are all excited. They're ready to take the kids out for dinner and a movie. And they look at the exam, and on question 1, the kid got a 90, and then he got zeros on the other 10 questions that followed. So what does that really mean? So when we're told that we have an unemployment rate of 5% while we blithely ignore tens of millions of unemployed Americans, we're told that we have to be compassionate, but we ignore the plight of American kids. We're told that violence is a problem on the one hand, but on the other hand, we've never had more heroin or cocaine flowing across our borders, which is directly linked to funding drug cartels, terrorist organizations, and directly linked to extreme violence in the United States. At what point do we get our politicians to understand that their obligation is to protect America and Americans? When we have politicians saying that on the one hand, we don't have enough high-tech workers in the United States, so the solution is to bring in foreign high-tech workers because our schools are incapable, and then turn around in the next breath and say, however, when foreign students go to those same incompetent schools, we should be stapling green cards onto their diplomas. Do you think anybody from either party is really looking out for the average American?
You make my job very easy because I didn't have to almost ask any questions.
I wanted to keep you from expending any breath. Did I succeed?
You succeeded, but good. Michael, in this crazy day and age when we have such failed leadership, it's a shame somebody like you is not in office and implementing these policies.
Well, I really thank you. You know, I'm asked that often. Why don't you run for Congress? I have a standard answer. Having done all those congressional hearings, I wish they were listenings, by the way. I tell them I run from Congress. When I look at the craziness going on in Washington, I keep on getting reminded that they did build the Capitol on landfill. Yeah. You know, the problem we really have, though, folks, all joking aside, and by the way, I just want to put out my website, michaelcutler.net. Please go there. Please go to the border states of America. And I also write, of course, for you, right here.
For Front Page Magazine.
Yes. And I'm very proud of that. But you really need to be involved in your own government, folks. My parents used to say to me that I would teach people how they should treat me by demonstrating what I was willing to accept. So, and the last thought, when you go to a restaurant, aren't you specific about the way you order the food? Why aren't we not telling the politicians what we expect of them and holding them accountable?
Michael, thank you very much. It's an honor to publish your articles at Front Page Magazine. Michael Cutler, and where do they go once again to read your work on your website?
Well, my website is michaelcutler.net. Please check out the Border States of America. It's available online for my favorite price, free. And, of course, Front Page Magazine. Just remember one thing, folks. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Thank you so much for these opportunities to write for you, to speak at this wonderful event, and for this interview right now.
Thank you very much, Michael Cutler.
Be well.
Michael Cutler, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you soon.